This is just proof of concept, making sure it'll work. Just kind of have it drilled through some holes here and tie it off. I need to tighten these knots a little bit just to hold it in place. I got it, Paul. Check it out. Look at this. Look at this. We're gonna be out on the river before you know it. I think the rudder's gonna be a little bit tricky. So here I am at the stern. I've got this eye loop, whatever you call it. I'm gonna take the one from the bow and I'm gonna mount it down here a little bit lower, so I've got two mounting points, and then I'll have the rudder attached to that. So that'll be my first step. We'll do the top first. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm thinking. This isn't my rudder, but it's just a piece of wood I had sitting there. I'll attach here, be able to go all directions. All right, so I took a couple minutes here. I got these old stainless steel hinges and just bolted them in with the washer. So hopefully when I have my rudder here, you'll be able to, swing it all the way here, swing it all the way this way. And I just need to make sure that these are parallel. I think this is an okay way of doing it. It should be really solid. The problem is if I run aground, there's no way to pop it up like this. So maybe on this bottom one, rather than having a bolt, maybe I'll have a bungee or something in here, or a shear pin, so it'll break off and flip up on this axis. We'll see. I'm thinking about using just some plywood. This one's really thin, so I thought I might make it lightweight, do one sheet, and then put a couple layers of fiberglass on it. This is 1/4 inch plywood. Maybe I'll use 1/2 inch, I don't know. I've got some clamps here holding on to my hinges, and I'm just gonna pencil out what I think would be a cool shape for the rudder. And then we'll see how we go from there. Maybe something like that. Sorry about that, the battery died. It's hot out here too, I think it overheated. Anyway, while the battery was charging a little bit, I went ahead and finished cutting this out roughly. Got it clamped back on. You know, I think it's in all right shape. I might move it up a little higher. We'll have to see. I might put a couple different sets of holes in. Here's the idea. Turn the wheel, and the string is around this post right here, this axle. And as you turn it, it's winding the string from the one side, which is led around after the rudder. And as you wind it and tighten it up on that side, it'll just bring the rudder over. I think that's basically how they did it in all the old ships back in the old day with wheels. So now I've just got to mount everything in place. and make it look nice. I'm gonna go ahead and shape the rudder a little bit more and then try to slap some fiberglass on it, so that way I can work on some other projects while I'm waiting for that to dry. I don't know anything about using fiberglass, so we'll see how it goes. You can tell me all the things I'm doing wrong in the comments. I'm essentially just routering the edges, but since I don't have a router, I'm using my grinder on it. Okay, maybe I'll put some stain on it to make it a little darker. I'm just gonna leave these here because I'm lazy. Actually, let me see how easy they come off. Maybe I'll take it off after all. Gotta be a tight fit. All right, this is basically my steering mechanism. The wheel will attach here, this hexagon. The line for the rudder's in the middle, and then I'll just have a stopper on this end. It looks kind of like a napkin holder. So I just need to now mount it down. I think I'll glue it and screw it so that it's very strong. I might need to add some more supports around just so it doesn't buckle. You know, hopefully there won't be too much pressure on, and most of the pressure will be this way because of the line pulling and the wheel turning. It shouldn't be back and forth, but I don't want it to fail on me out there. So I'll go ahead and screw it down and see if I need to add some more reinforcement. All right, well, I'm waiting for the rudder to dry. I've been working on my steering wheel a little bit. I made 2 half circles here to act as a place for the axle to turn. So the ship's wheel, it's not connected right now. It's just sitting here loose. I'm gonna probably screw it in once I clean all these up, sand them down a little bit because it's still a tight fit. But anyway, you turn the wheel, right? And then that turns the axle. And I think inside this housing will be where my lines are that will run maybe somewhere over here to the side. This might be in the way. I might have to move these cleats somewhere else. So we'll run from the housing, maybe to a pulley or a line, and then along the side to the rudder at the back. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean these up, maybe put some finish or something on them. I'm gonna cut this down. I don't think it needs to be super long. If I really do just want to use the middle, then I can cut it down here and then maybe put a stopper on this end so that it won't go through. Yeah, I'll let you know what I come up with. So next step, take this flimsy piece of board and try to stiffen it up. I just don't want it to be too heavy. I don't want too much weight off the back of the boat. All right, I've clamped the first side down with glue. I think I'm going to drill a pilot hole. And I'm going to put these long 3-inch screws down. That should give it plenty of security. And I'll do 2 on each side. Go from there. All right, the first side glued on. Looks okay. I was a little late on wiping it off, so I'm gonna have to sand it or grind it off, which is fine because I'll probably do that anyway. All right, well, here it is. Now, like I said, I don't know what I'm doing with fiberglass, so it's pretty ugly, pretty nasty. Probably shouldn't have even bothered staining it because I'm just gonna have to paint over it with something to make it look prettier. I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the edges with this. This is one piece of fiberglass on each side. And it's definitely a lot more rigid. It might need more, but I'm going to experiment with it as it is. So let me just grind it down. If you're grinding fiberglass, it's nasty stuff. Make sure you got good ventilation or a good breeze. You don't want to get all this dust in your lungs and on you. Okay, right now I have it mounted down a little bit low, and I'm going to go ahead and put some screw holes right here. I can always move it up. Maybe I'll adjust it, make a couple different spots to do it at. My rudder's not perfectly straight, flush. I don't know if you can see on camera. It's got a little bit of a warp to it. I probably should have just used 3/4 plywood. That would have made it way easier. Maybe I'll make a new one, but you know, it'll hold up okay as long as I'm not going in super high wind conditions. I'll go ahead and drill through, put some screws in. I'll try to rig up the steering system. All right, well, you can definitely see how warped the rudder is. I don't know if you can on camera. Yeah, oh, there you go. You can see the nice bend in it, but it should be fine for my purposes. Okay, now it took me a while to figure out how to run the lines because I wanted to keep it as simple and clean as possible. I decided to go on the outside of the boat here, and I think it'll be okay. We'll see. I'm gonna need to make this a little tighter. So what I did is I found the halfway point of the line and I put a hole through my axle here, and so I've got it knotted on either side of that hole, and then I've got about a couple wraps around either side. And then, as I said before, you turn the wheel, it pulls the string, and that'll pull the rudder. So I did that same thing on both sides. I had to remove this control panel with a couple of my cam cleats, so I might mount those somewhere else. No big deal. Like I said, I need to get the slack out so that the rudder will hold firm wherever you put it. But I mean, I think it's functional the way it is. Let me get you a video from the back. This is just proof of concept, making sure it'll work. Just kind of have it drilled through some holes here and tie it off. I need to tighten these knots a little bit just to hold it in place. I got it, Paul. Check it out. Look at this. Look at this. We're gonna be out on the river before you know it. Oh, nice. How far over can I get?
You know what else I did? Because I knew the motorcycle project was funny. Mentioned, oh, you got a whole new rudder. Rebuilt that. I don't know if that's but anyways.
Yeah, man.
I bought the one that Emily's driving right now.
You bought her a motorcycle?